What we talk about, it goes deep, something to watch. Even from the nosebleeds, the fans been waiting, anticipating for the whole week. Cause we making moves and breaking news, no time for cold feet. Don't confuse, you know the rules and that we play to win. You ain't prepared to take it.
What's up, good people? Welcome to another edition of WTF Too, Women Talk Football Too. Hoping that you all enjoyed all the Juneteenth celebrations, everything that's kicking off with the summer. I'm your girl, Latasha Miles, aka Joan Madden, the Gridiron Goddess, and I am accompanied by my lovely, talented, intelligent co-host. Let the people know who you are.
You know what it is, people. It's the one and only touchdown tomboy. Oh, y'all see these nice comforting curtains behind me because my family we're vacationing in the Busch Gardens, but you know I got to still deliver you one even on the road, baby.
Absolutely, that dedication, even on vacation, still got to talk about football, no doubt. And just like Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes on the cover of Madden 2022, we are also a dynamic duo. And like Carl Nassib of the Raiders, we're coming out too, but with another episode of WTF Too. And with this latest episode, halfway through the year of 2021, this year is absolutely zooming by. Time is moving fast, and we're the halfway point of the year. That also means it's about 2 months away from the return of the NFL season, much anticipated. And it's also near the 4th of July holiday. And even though we're in the thick of the NHL and the NBA playoffs, and no NFL team has touched the gridiron yet this season, there are definitely been some off-field fireworks, and we're going to talk about some of those on this episode. So let's explode into the first quarter as the summer solstice just kicked off. Coincidentally, Aaron Rodgers has been a hot topic here recently during this offseason. He's been called complicated by the Packers front office members. He's been living his best life in Hawaii. He's been MIA in the many training camps, and he's also been hosting Jeopardy, and he's been spotted in a t-shirt that said, "I'm offended." So basically, he ain't rocking with Green Bay at all right now. Now, touchdown tomboy, what do you make of all this Aaron Rodgers stuff? Will we see him in Packers this season? Will there be another team, a possible retirement? What's up?
I would say, first of all, Aaron Rodgers is a bad man. Aaron Rodgers is a little too good to retire. However, I can't say that I won't see him in a Packers uniform, but I think it will be a very complicated situation if he does return to football. I think if he returns back to the Packers, it'll be solely because he's returning to the Packers just to play the sport in which he loves so much. However, it's not a, how do I say this? It's not one of those situations where we don't know or we didn't know that this has been brewing for a long time. This has been brewing for the last couple of years with Aaron Rodgers. And I think it started a couple of years back when Aaron Rodgers went to, after they hired Matt LaFleur, and Aaron Rodgers went to the front office and said, "Hey, listen, we kind of need some receivers. We need some offensive pieces outside of Devontae Adams." And I give him that. He was right. He was absolutely right. And what did the Packers do in the draft? They went and drafted Jordan Love. Slapping Aaron Rodgers' face. So Aaron Rodgers is like, "Wait, what? So y'all gonna replace me now? I'm the one and only great Aaron Rodgers." So he was offended. I'm offended. He was offended. And so then after that, he says, well, okay, he plays again this year with a better, what again this year, they do even better this year. They go almost to the AFC championship or the NFC
they lost in the NFC championship.
And then they lost in the NFC championship again this year. And all he says is, listen, y'all give me more help on the offensive side. And what did the Packers do in the draft? They didn't come out swinging like that. They went and did some other stuff in the first round or two, and then they came back and got them offensive pieces. So at this point, Aaron Rodgers is like, wait a minute. Are you guys really serious about winning the championship? I mean, I love Devontae and all, but once he gets double covered, that's it for us. I need something else to work with. So it's kind of like, what are you trying to say, Green Bay? What do we want to do? Do we want to win championships, or do we want to just appease the front office? I'm just trying to figure this out here. So I kind of get where Aaron Rodgers is coming from. However, I do know that Aaron Rodgers can be a diva. I understand that. But if you are about winning, and I think Aaron Rodgers is, then you got to have pieces in place that you can actually do that with. And so some of the things that he's asked for in the front office, I don't think it's been too much of a complicated situation to ask for offensive pieces, ask for pieces, offensive linemen to protect me, to ask for weapons outside of Devontae Adams that I can throw to, because let's just get it. What's his name? Vet Scouting, whatever his name is.
Okay,
And I do like what his name? The new I can't think of his name. Anyway, Lazar.
Yeah.
I do like him.
Yeah, he put up some big numbers.
They are struggling, offensively. And that's what happened in the NFC Championship game, because they were struggling offensively. Because once Devontae got double covered, that was it, and that's all he's asking for. Give the man a tight end. Give the man another offensive weapon. I don't think it's too much to ask for. Is it wrong with actually drafting down? But you spent high up draft capital to get Jordan Love. What was that about?
I mean, I understand where you're coming from, and I agree with a lot of stuff that you said, especially the emphasis on the Jordan Love draft pick. And as much as I love A-Rod, I still have to say, and you already emphasized on it, he is acting like a diva, very much prima donna. And to me, he's acting more like a pacified baby here on this one. Now, I know he's responsible for several of the wins for Green Bay. He's had MVP seasons, led into division titles, and we saw how Green Bay struggled when Aaron Rodgers went down with his collarbone. So I get all of that. But at the end of the day, A-Rod really needs to take a look in the mirror and have some accountability here. All this time, I thought it was Mike McCarthy. I thought it might have been the lack of defense. I thought it may have been, Dom Capers being the defensive coordinator and him being a little bit lackadaisical with that. I thought maybe it was the lack of running game. And when it all boils down to it, it's really more Aaron Rodgers. And let me break that down. When you're talking about this, funny you bring up these NFC Championship appearances. When we're talking about his playoff record, he's 12-8 in the playoffs. Now, 11-8 as a starter, but 12-8, that's just 4 games above 500. And one of those playoff wins was a gift from the Dez Bryant catch, non-catch, to now we know that really is a catch, that controversy. So that was a gift. We take that away, that's another loss. At the end of the day, that will be 12-9, 11-9 as a starter. And then the fact that he's had 5 NFC Championship trips and he's only won one of those. Yeah. This is really baffling to me, with this being the type of quarterback that Aaron Rodgers is. And also, he only has 1 Super Bowl ring. Singular, not plural, just one. All of those NFC Championship appearances, you only have yielded 1 Super Bowl win. And I don't know. I'm looking at it like, look, dude, you ain't thrown enough Hail Marys to be acting like this. The Packers have been very accommodating to Aaron Rodgers. Maybe they could have done a little bit more, as you alluded to, but still, they got rid of Mike McCarthy, which you pretty much spearheaded. They got you some running game. They made some changes on defense. And statistically, most of those playoff games have fallen on the offense. It's boiled down to Aaron Rodgers having a turnover or not getting them in field goal range. But it has really boiled down to Aaron Rodgers. Most of the time, the offense has ended having the ball, but he hasn't been able to capitalize on that. And you're upset about some of the moves that are or aren't working. But at the end of the day, it's also about some of the moves you are and aren't doing on the field. So I don't know. When I'm thinking about all of this, and both camps are playing hardball, Aaron Rodgers as much as the Packers is. But Aaron Rodgers will be 38 at the end of the year. I mean, I think this marriage should honestly be over. I like the younger move. I like that you're putting some fuel to him. I maybe that's what it took, was them to draft Love and make that more of a threat, to let Aaron Rodgers know that somebody's on your coattails. I'm kind of like the same thing when Brett Favre was getting phased out and Aaron Rodgers was on his coattails and getting ushered out. And we saw what the success that Aaron Rodgers had. Maybe it's about time for this new era to begin. Now, I mean, if I was him, I'd hate to stop playing for that fine, good-looking coach of his, Matt LaFleur, Eshko Scar in my Helter Skelter voice. But at this point, I think it's unresolvable. They can't get along, so just move along. Trade him to the Broncos, or perhaps he can, because if he goes to the Broncos, maybe he can have a storybook ending like John Elway did. And John Elway was old as well. This is a piece of the puzzle that the Broncos really could use as a quarterback. And maybe that change of scenery, that altitude, maybe that will help kind of resurrect him and give him a change of pace. But I don't know. I doubt that we will see Aaron Rodgers packed in a Green Bay uniform again. But again, that's just my opinion. We'll know further along as we get closer to the beginning of the season. So let's burst into the second quarter. Another explosion has taken place this offseason when Julio Jones was traded to the Tennessee Titans. Now, in exchange for Jones, the Titans will send a 2022 second round draft pick and a 2023 fourth round draft pick selection to the Falcons. Along with Jones, the Falcons will send a 2023 sixth round pick to the Titans. Now, TT, who won this trade and do you like it?
The Titans won that trade all day.
Absolutely.
Because, okay, first of all, let's just talk about who, like, the thing is here we are. We're talking about Julio, Julio Jones. When Julio is healthy, he's as elite as anybody on the freaking field. So it's like, now you're gonna put him in the same lineup with Derrick Henry. So now you got a monster running game. You lining them up with Brown and now you're running them side by side. And oh my God, they just let Corey Davis go. Like what? Like this is crazy. Like that team. That's a lot to be desired. And I think he's going to go there hungry because he's trying to live out that, whoa, it was me in Atlanta story.
Right.
And I think he's going to be monstrous this year. And I'm almost scared to see it. But the Titans definitely won that trade. I have no idea, no clue what Atlanta is doing at all because Atlanta is the only team that I know that has struggled defensively, and they don't ever draft the defensive piece in the first round when you know that's your struggle. And then you go and you give away something of that caliber for a second round draft pick.
Yeah.
In next year's draft. Like
in next year's draft, right.
And then you give them something back in return.
On top of that, yeah.
Atlanta, please tell me, what are you guys doing? I don't know. That just irks me so bad, but the Titans definitely won that trade. I am actually looking forward to seeing Julio, him and Derrick Henry and Brown this year. Like, I think that could be very volatile. Okay. Yeah, that's almost scary. And it's not like the Titans defense is bad. They already got a really good defense.
Right. They took one of my boys too. Ugh.
Just go ahead. Yeah, they done took your boy too, Buck.
Yeah, my boy too. Yeah, they got D3 too. Yeah,
you might need to watch. Okay, yeah. That's going to be volatile. That is going to be a team everybody needs to watch out for this year because that could be volatile if they can get that to work right. If they can get that magic to happen, that's going to be volatile. But that's on you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much said a lot of stuff that I was going to say. I definitely like this trade overall. I think it definitely favors Tennessee way more than it does with Atlanta. And Tennessee, this is a team that's been in the playoffs. They've been knocking on the door of the AFC Championship, trying to get over that hump the past two of Mike Vrabel's 3 years in his tenure. And actually, the two playoff runs they had, those deep playoff runs, they knocked off the higher seeds both times. They beat the Super Bowl champions and they turned around. They beat Baltimore. And these were road games too. So I like the approach that they took. They got more aggressive on offense. The other thing that works so well with this trade for Tennessee is that Julio Jones is going to put some more butts in the seats, especially due to the fact that, it was either very rare or a lower percentage of fans in the stands in the 2020 season or none at all. So this is very revigorating that the fans, they get to go back to the stands. Oh, and you also get to see Julio Jones in person. So that's another bonus for them with Julio Jones coming. Plus the Titans Stadium, it really don't be rocking like some of the other AFC powerhouse teams like the Chiefs, the Bills, the Steelers. So I think that this will also help the Titans giving them a little bit more of advantage, and putting them in that class with those other three teams when it comes to how the crowds be rocking. So that's another intangible, because Julio's going to bring that excitement and he'll make the crowd more hype, and they'll be louder. So yeah, it's going to be a very raucous stadium. Now I'm glad he's out of Atlanta. This is a team they've literally been the Bokeem Woodbine of the NFL. And if you don't understand what I'm saying, ever since that 28-3 debacle during the Super Bowl, they just can't get right. Okay, so that's the explanation for that. And they taking these picks and trading Julio Jones. It's obviously that they're in a state of rebuilding. They've got some coaching changes coming. But I do see one major flaw in this trade. When I think of remarkable offensive combinations in the history of the NFL, there's the triplets. There's Michael Irvin, Troy Aikman, and Emmitt Smith. There's the greatest show on turf, Marshall Faulk, Isaac Bruce, Torrey Holt, Kurt Warner. And then you even think about the incomparable Peyton Manning, Marvin Harrison, and Reggie Wayne. I don't get that same appeal with A.J. Brown, Julio Jones, Derrick Henry, and Ryan Tannehill. Now, the first three, absolutely. But usually a quarterback comes into this group as well. And Tannehill he's not even a top 10 quarterback for me. Not right now. Now, I think Julio Jones, that tandem of Julio Jones and A.J. Brown, I think that could elevate him and bring him to that elite level. But right now, this is somewhat of a lateral move for quarterback to me for Julio, from going from Matt Ryan to Tannehill. I really don't see a big uptick as far as who the field general is. That's the only flaw I can really think of. I don't like who Julio has as quarterback. I like who he has as coach. I like who he has as defense. I like where Tennessee stands as opposed to Atlanta. So all of that I like. But again, I do like all of the offensive pieces that are surrounding him. And I definitely believe, like you said, the Titans won this trade. I see additional playoff success for him, other than the question mark at quarterback. Definitely like this. So we're
I will say this. Unlike Matt Ryan Tannehill plays off of momentum. So if you look at him from the AFC championships, he was gunslinging, but it was a momentum that was behind him. So if you can get a momentum behind him, and this may be the spark that he needs, that kind of pushes him, he may be better than we've ever seen him. So, I'm not going to just write my check on him just yet. Matt Ryan, we pretty much, what you see is what you get with him. Rain, shine, you don't really see a lot of hype with him. But what I do see with Ryan Tannehill is Ryan Tannehill plays on a momentum. If they're playing well, he usually plays pretty well. If they're not playing so good, he can't get a fire started. That's for sure. But if they're playing well, he can usually elevate to match what everybody else is doing. So I'll give him that much. So maybe that might be the silver lining in that. So that's just my little 2 cents in that.
I agree with you on that. So, and again, like you said, him having that fire and that momentum, perhaps Julio Jones will be the one that can also help, because the crowd's definitely going to be behind him. Mm-hmm. And so, maybe that'll help him as well with the build up of the momentum. So we're going to do things a little bit differently this time with the halftime presentation. Usually the touchdown time boy is bringing you some knowledge, or actually educating you on something that you might not have known, or something that you might have known, but she's giving you some additional insight, because that's what she does. I mean, she's a research guru and she knows her stuff just off the top of her head anyway. So she usually is presenting to you all of these nuggets with the halftime presentation. But because there's so much stuff going on in the NBA playoffs, so today we just decided to mix it up a little bit with the halftime presentation. Just take a little break, a little pause from the NFL, show you our diversity, show you our range too. That we also know women's top basketball as well. It don't have quite the same WTB, don't have the same ring as WTF, because the pun with that. But yeah, we decided it's so much stuff going on in the NBA. So for the halftime presentation, we're gonna mix it up a little bit and dribble our way into the NBA and what's going on with that for the halftime presentation. So touchdown time boy, lots of stuff going on in the NBA, draft, lottery draft, new coaching. We're down to the final 4 in the playoffs, and 3 of the coaches are surprisingly Black. They're African American, 3 out of the 4 coaches. So yeah, which is pretty interesting and unique. LaMelo Ball here, and where we live in North Carolina. So LaMelo Ball from the Hornets, Rookie of the Year. That's definitely surprising and refreshing. So touchdown time, boy, highlight. What do you think? What's going on with the NBA? Any predictions for the finals? So with the coaching lottery picks, what are your thoughts? Where's your mind and heart at with the NBA right now?
My heart is with, I think that I gotta say it because I now don't get me wrong. Up until and this is gonna be fun for you because I know you absolutely hate the Brooklyn Nets because everybody is a Brooklyn Nets fan. So and I said this though at the beginning of the series. I told once Kyrie went down, you saw all over my posts. I said, listen, Brooklyn got injuries. They're not gonna make it out alive because one thing is just like the trifecta in football. You got to have a trifecta in basketball, and one without the other, it was just not gonna be a fine or machine. It's just not how that works. So what I said I said with Brooklyn having all the injuries, my pick is now the Phoenix Suns. And look who's balling without CP3. I'm trying to tell you, them boys out there, listen, I can't put money on it. And I know that the Clippers are good, but I think the Phoenix Suns are hungry. So I'm going to pick them. That's my pick right there, okay? And when CP comes back, all they're going to do is just elevate them. They're playing really well without him. Right. So think about when he comes back, this should just be an elevation. And I don't know if the Clippers going to be able to withstand it because they're telling me he might be back game 3. So girl, bye. Look, if the Clippers, listen, if the Clippers come back, y'all will get mad respect. Because if Kawhi Leonard comes back, but I actually think he got a torn ACL. Nobody's talking about it, but nobody's confirming it. I think that's what it is. I don't think he's going to be back. But I'm rocking with, listen, I know people like the Bucks, but I feel like the Bucks are just a little too structured. They don't have that gut and that grit in them. So I just kind of feel like the Suns are the hungry team. The boy Cameron Payne, I mean, everybody's playing well. Ayton is playing well. Cameron Payne is playing well. Devin Booker, oh my God, where did he come from? And he's with a Kardashian. Like, what's really going on? Because that does not happen. Them Kardashian, I'm sorry, Kendall, what you say, the curse is not real. Oh, baby, it's real. I'm sorry, darling. I know you don't feel that way because them your sisters, but y'all curse is real, darling. I'm sorry, baby. It's real. And Devin, run. But anyway, seriously though, real talk. But seriously, I am really like Devin Booker is like elevated. I think we're really seeing the rise of Devin Booker right now. Like the real rise of Devin Booker.
Absolutely.
And I'm just floored at how well he's playing. And so, I mean, I think the Phoenix Suns are going to be a lot to handle. So, that's what I'm seeing with what's left. And don't get me wrong, Atlanta has surprised me. The Hawks have surprised me. I did not see the Hawks coming out this far, but the Hawks have surprised me. They put the Sixers to bed. The Sixers have struggled. So I didn't really think that they would make it as far as they did because they've struggled. I've seen so much inconsistency with them.
Very much so.
So, and now everybody's trying to get rid of
Ben Simmons.
Yeah, Ben Simmons, they've wrote him off, so, I guess he'll be gone probably next year. So they'll be gone on to something else. And so I'm serious. Like my team this year is definitely, it looks like the stars, as people say, the stars are aligning in the Suns' favor. But anyway, that's my spiel for that because that's what I think. And then, of course, with the lottery picks, the Pistons, of course, get the number 1 lottery pick. We've talked about that. So it's gonna be interesting, and I think the Charlotte Hornets are on to something, baby. I got to talk about them because I'm from North Carolina, so I got to talk about the Hornets. I got to talk about LaMelo Ball. I hope he comes back healthier than ever, and I think the Hornets are on to something. I think if we get a few more pieces, we might be in there like swimwear next year ourselves. So hey, that's what I'm looking at for this year. And from what I'm seeing around the league in the basketball world, that's my spiel. Back over to you, girl.
I agree with you. I'm rooting for Phoenix. Of course, like you said, you're not putting money on it, and neither would I. I'm not making a guarantee because you never know with injuries and just different stuff. So I'm not that bold, but I'm definitely going for fellow Taurus, Chris Paul, I went to Winston-Salem State. I graduated from Winston-Salem State. He's attending Winston-Salem State. He got his degree at Wake Forest, which is also in Winston, but he's a fellow Ram. He's a fellow Tar. So I'm definitely partial and biased to that. It's long overdue. I remember those stellar 90s teams of Phoenix with Dan Marley and Charles Barkley and Kevin Johnson. And they always ran into those walls, the Jordan walls, as most teams have. Jordan's my favorite NBA player of all time. So Jordan stopped a lot of people from getting rings. Of course, Jordan's out of the league now, obviously because of age and stuff. But there were times where I really wanted Phoenix to get some of those back in the 90s because they really, really had a complete team. And I was a fan of Charles Barkley too. Even though I wish he would have got more of that with the Sixers, but I still wanted him to get one with Phoenix too, just because I like Charles. I wanted him to get one. So it's long overdue. I hope it happens. The other thing about Chris Paul, everywhere Chris Paul has gone, I don't think people pay as much attention to it and gave this man his due credit like he has. The success the Clippers had, the success the Pelicans had. Everywhere this guy has gone and played, Chris Paul has changed the culture of the team everywhere he's gone. And this one is no different. It's just always then it came to the playoffs and the wall came crumbling down. And we're talking about an older Chris Paul now, issues with the shoulder. I would love for him, and I'm not saying he would retire this year either way, but I would love for him to get the ring this year. And if he does decide to retire, he can ride off into the sunset, win his ring, and be gone. Him and LeBron are close friends. I know LeBron's rooting for him. I'm a LeBron fan, and even though I'm not even tripping off the Lakers being out because I did not think that they were going to get there anyway. I'm a realist. And I saw that the ratings skyrocketed during these playoffs with a no LeBron and a no Steph Curry going this far into the playoffs. And I have no problem with that. I think part of the reason was people kind of got tired of the monotony of the past 10 years has been LeBron or it's been Steph. The past 10 years. And I think people just, the redundancy of it, as great as these players are. And by the way, both of these are my favorite two players in the NBA currently. But I'm still okay with this new fresh talent. Trae Young, that vigor from him. I love the way PJ Tucker, who had his battles with, him and Kevin Durant, they were at Texas together. So they already have their own rapport and camaraderie. I love to see them go against each other as opponents, as opposed to playing together like they did at Texas. Nate McMillan from Atlanta. If Nate McMillan wins, he'll probably be the first interim coach to win an NBA title. Nate McMillan is also from North Carolina. He's from Raleigh. So I'm rooting for him as well. This is refreshing. I love this. PJ Tucker from Raleigh, a fellow Taurus. This is very refreshing. I love it to see this journeyman. He's been in the league some time too. He was a 2002 player of the year. I hope he gets a ring as well. I would love, Giannis. He's always, with him being MVP, with him being defensive player of the year, I think a ring would cap off his legacy. I'm excited about what Minnesota can do. I would love to see that as well. At this point, honestly, and the Clippers. I mean, the Clippers have always been kind of like the kid brother of the Lakers, the shadow of Lakers. It'd be nice for them to get out of that shadow. One time Kawhi was considered the best two-way player, and granted, the injuries have tackled him, and on paper, statistically, it is. So this is a very exciting time with this Final Four. I love the African-American leadership from the coaches. It's long overdue. Most of the players in the league are Black. Why aren't some of the more of the coaches? The executive of the year, James Jones from the Phoenix Suns, he's Black. So this should be a wake-up call, not so much about their race, but just more so that they deserve the chance because moves are being made, things are happening. It's refreshing. So every aspect of this is refreshing. 3 Black coaches out of the 4. Executive of the year being Black. 4 brand new teams. One of these 4, Trae Young's gonna get his first ring, or Giannis gonna get his first ring, or Chris Paul's gonna get his first ring, or Paul George is gonna get his first ring. I love this. I love the refreshness of it. I love that LaMelo from the Hornets. The Hornets is a small market team. I love that he got Rookie of the Year. I really am very happy and impressed with the state of the NBA right now. I love that Becky Hammond's name keeps coming up for all these coaching vacancies of female, the diversity there. Boston just got a new coach. He's a minority, and he happens to be Neil Long's fiance, which I was 8 years old when I found that out. I had no idea this was Neil Long's fiance. So I love that, So I'm just really, really happy and pleased with the state of the NBA. Can't wait to see how the finals play out. But at the end of the day, even though I'm rooting for all four, like you, I'm rooting more for the Suns. I would love to see Chris Paul go ahead and get a ring. So yeah, let's go ahead and erupt our way back into football here in the third quarter. Tim Tebow created a booming effect, making his way back into the headlines, reuniting with his former coach, Urban Meyer, who now coaches for the Jacksonville Jaguars. But this time he returns in the tight end position, which of course is completely different from the quarterback role that he played during his earlier stint with Meyer when they were together with the Florida Gators. Now, TT, what do you think about the addition of Tebow to the Jaguars and his new role in their offense?
Listen, I know I can't even believe I'm about to say this.
Uh-oh.
But I actually think it may benefit the Jaguars. And let me explain to you why. When you have a new quarterback coming into the NFL who doesn't understand really the systems of the NFL, you have a college coach who's not really coached in the NFL like that. So then you got a whole new world. Number one, Tim Tebow has played in the NFL, so he can kind of orient them to the NFL dynamics and how that all works and what, how it all goes and stuff like that. So he could be a help there. Number two, he can be a help to my boy Sunshine from from Clemson, because he as a tight end, number one, if he understands, as he has the thought mentality as a quarterback, as a previous quarterback, he understands what most quarterbacks or other quarterbacks are thinking. So then he can understand how to help him in route, so he can figure out positioning, timing, and that helps him out. That helps Trevor Lawrence out in the long run. So then that gives him openness. So then Trevor Lawrence doesn't have to get lit up so much, And then on top of that, Tim Tebow is not a small guy. So he's a pretty big guy, depending on how much shape he's in. If he can catch a little bit, a good tight end, if he can block it all, is very beneficial. You know what I'm saying? So I can see some benefits to this thing. Especially when you have a rookie coming in who just had a shoulder surgery. He's gonna need all the help he can get. So I don't think, and then if that becomes an issue, and then you have, your backups like Garner Minshew or whoever, you never know. I mean, it's been teams that they've gone down 2 and 3 quarterbacks, and the Broncos last year didn't even have a quarterback, and they was about to had to have a wide receiver to come in and play quarterback. And then, hey, you can always shift them. Hey, Tebow, you're gonna have to come on around and you're gonna have to play quarterback for a game or so. He can do it. So it's a lot of, I think, goods to that. Yes, he's been out for a while, but I think if he's in good shape and his body can handle it, I think it could be more upside to downside too. That's just what I've been thinking about.
No, I agree with you, and I'll get to that point as well. But also just kind of piggybacking on what I was saying earlier about Mike Vrabel, new coach with the addition of Julio Jones. This gets the fans excited in Jacksonville. I'm going to put some more butts in the seats also. Again, limited fans and or no fans in the 2020 season. Who wouldn't go out and come see Tim Tebow? I mean, this is a huge splash. So when you're talking about a guy who's coming to, like you said, he's coming in with a rookie quarterback. Oh, by the way, the number 1 pick in that draft. So there's already pressure there. And this is a guy who has had so much success in winning in high school and college. He's about to get a rude awakening in the NFL. So you kind of have to build some confidence. You kind of have to, and then you got a first-year NFL coach. Urban Meyer has coached several years. He never coached in the NFL. So this is his first stint as well. So you got to create these flashes. You got to create these waves. And I think the Tim Tebow move was brilliant on that part as well. One time we were talking a lot about Jacksonville Jaguars, the Ramsey era. There's no more Fournette. Those days of the trips to the AFC Championship game, those days are gone. So it's important for them to have some appetizers for the fans as this new Urban Meyer transition, as this new era begins and transpires. So getting Trevor Lawrence number 1 in the overall, getting him number 1 overall in the draft, now and Tim Tebow, these are great splashes. These are great starts. Plus, the other thing about the Tim Tebow edition, which you brought up stuff that I didn't even think about. Like you said, the fact that he's already played quarterback, he can get in that mind. Him playing tight end, everybody knows a struggling quarterback or young quarterback or a confused quarterback, the tight end is always the safety net. So as you alluded to, with Tim Tebow already having the mind of a quarterback, him shifting to tight end, which is that safety net position, that's brilliant. It really, really is. And then also him and Meyer already have rapport established. They got titles together at Gainesville. They can already bring that winning recipe that Jacksonville has been missing during that Tom Coughlin in the executive office position. So this is very refreshing for them. Oh yeah, Jacksonville, an hour and a half away from Gainesville. So these are technically home games for Florida fans, for Florida Gator fans. And so they're getting ready to get back to that. This is very reminiscent for them. They're energized, they're rejuvenated, they can't wait. So they already have like, wow, this is the good old days, and they kind of get to see that. So you have that factor coming into play. And even though, like you said about Tim Tebow, even though it's a different position, Tim Tebow is still very much an athlete, and he's in terrific shape. Played quarterback on the gridiron. He played left fielder and DH in baseball. So he's done transitions before. So I don't see where this transition would be impossible for him. This is making transition is nothing new to him. And I'm not completely sold on it, since it's not like wide receiver to tight end, but just his intelligence, the intelligence factor for him, the excitement factor, the anticipation. I trust those factors as well. Oh, and look at the jersey sales. So the anticipation is already there too. I think he had like #1 in jersey sales. The dude didn't even touch the field as a tight end. He didn't even play the game as a Jacksonville Jaguar. And they already bought the jerseys. So it's pandemonium. It's an exciting time. And he's gonna pray. This is a praying warrior that we're talking about here. So if all else fails, he's gonna go to God and give him the glory and the praise. And it's just he's gonna be anointed. So you got that factor as well with Tebow. And I just feel like there's not that halo, there's not gonna be a bunch of failure with this. I just don't see, God forbid there's injury, but I'm just talking about the X's and O's part. I like this. I trust it a lot. And in order to compete in a division where Tennessee has had success, the Texans are in limbo, which we'll talk about in a moment, and some disarray for the Texans. But you also got the Colts team who went to the playoffs last year. They're looking to repeat and grow on that. I think it was very important for Jacksonville to also make a name. They were at the bottom of the division. And even though the Texans had been struggling, they're still in the news for other stuff. Colts in the news. Titans in the news. Jacksonville is now in the news. They're getting some relevancy back, and they're getting some conversations about them, some excitement about them. So I think that was important for them as well. And I hope and think that he will do well. But what I do know for sure, that without a question, all that I just said, well, a lot of that I said was my opinion. But what I do know for sure is those recent pictures of Tim Tebow's arms out there on the field got me thinking, Tim Tebow, what big arms you have, the better to pick me up with, my dear. I'm gonna got them arms, honey, them cannons. That boy been in the gym, I'm trying to tell you. So that athletic part is there. It's that he's definitely in shape. So yeah, I'm really, really looking forward to seeing this Tim Tebow transition. Now this topic here is not as hot as it started. We alluded to the Texans, and things seem to have simmered on this one, but the Deshaun Watson scandals and the accusations that surfaced as he made desperate pleas to exit the Texans organization. Now, we should know before camp starts whether Watson will receive paid leave if these cases aren't settled. So with so much hush going on, so many ladies involved, they're even backpedaling. They're backpedaling like Deion Sanders in his prime money. They backpedaling. They dropping their accusations. And when the season returns, though, touchdown time boy, do you think we'll see Watson playing? Will he be on that paid leave, not on the sidelines, traded, or just completely gone AWOL?
Oh man, that's actually a loaded question. Honestly, I don't know, because it's a lot happening with that situation.
It is.
So what we found out is, #1, a lot of the girls have dropped their suits. #2, we found out that a lot of the girls were not even licensed. #3, what we found out is that after they've recanted those stories, some have said that it was a form of bribery. So it's kind of like, what is really going on here? So I don't know. I don't know. But I do know that the rumor mill has been said that he also wants to play in Denver.
Right.
What's up with people wanting to play in Denver? I don't understand.
Oh, you know why? The dispensary is honey, the cannabis.
Oh, he too wants to play in Denver. So I I don't know. I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see how that shakes down. Um, but I put it this way. I don't think because it's just been so much inconsistency
Right.
in the whole storyline, I don't think that the NFL is going to have, they're going to have enough to even make him sit out. So it's a question of where will he end up with all of this stuff that they've tainted his reputation. And so I think unfortunately for Deshaun, and I kind of feel bad for him at this point, is because honestly, his reputation has been tainted on a bunch of stuff
Right.
that hasn't even been proven because
Right.
the media is allowed to do and say all of this stuff regardless of whether you're guilty or not guilty, and that weighs on people's mind whether they're able to prove it or not. And so unfortunately, I think for him it's a question of people will watch him, but I don't think people will view it the same.
Right.
But then maybe 1 or 2 years from now, they'll forget about it like we forgot about Big Ben and we've gone on to something else. He'll have a couple good years and the people were like, what? Oh yeah, they dropped that girl, you know. So it's just a matter of where is he gonna end up. So I think he will end up somewhere. I don't think he'll be sitting at home. I don't think he'll be with the Texans, but I
Right.
don't think
Okay.
he'll be sitting at home.
Gotcha. And the thing about the other stuff about this Watson stuff where we talked about Green Bay earlier, I think Watson has more right to be upset than Aaron Rodgers as well when we talk about these unhappy situations. Because they had him under the regime of Bill O'Brien, and Bill O'Brien served as head coach and he served as GM, and he did not juggle those balls well at all. And it was an atrocity with him serving both roles. I almost thought Jerry Jones was doing too much and wearing too many hats, but then I met Bill O'Brien, and Jerry Jones gets tens across the board when it comes to managing compared to Bill O'Brien. And I felt like that was already an unsettling situation for Watson. So then you get Bill O'Brien now, you think like, oh, okay, this is about to be refreshing. We're about to start anew. And then you turn around and well, that had to do with Bill O'Brien too, but you get rid of Hopkins, and that's Deshaun Watson's best offensive weapon, and they had all this rapport established, and this was a great tandem, a great young tandem we were watching. Oh, by the way, they were together in college, so they already had that chemistry established as well. And you split that up, you break that up, and like for like a bag of chips, like there was really no fair. Houston didn't get back what they gave for Hopkins. And then the fact that you do this and you blindside Watson on top of that, absolutely no input with him. Didn't even consider his feelings. Now I understand this is a business, but come on paper, you saw how good these guys were together. But then you also look at like a guy like JJ Watt, who had also been unhappy with Houston. So we see Hopkins leave, we see Watt leave, and even though Watt had been unhealthy and it was a mutual departure, Watt has also expressed some disdain for the Houston organization. So at this point, I'm looking at like, I don't see Watson being as much of a problem as they're trying to make him. And then the timing of these accusations only came into play once Watson started saying how unhappy he was. And again, you get rid of his best piece where he had success. And then you have it with Bill O'Brien. And you just don't have him, especially with this being your franchise player, you just don't have the pieces around him for him to succeed. On top of the fact that even without Hopkins this year, and as upset as he was not having Hopkins, the guy still balled out. So he still gave you numbers. He still gave you wins. He still gave you stats. And you continue to do what you do by not trying to accommodate him a little bit more. So it wasn't like an even kill. Like, look, dude, I'm giving you numbers. It's not like I fell off. I'm still doing great things. And this is the thanks I get. So you come out with these accusations because he unfollows you on social media and because he expresses how upset he is, rightfully so. And here come the accusations, and the timing is just like very, very questionable on this. And I'm like, Jay-Z, we don't believe you. You need more people. Come on, Houston, we have a problem here, and it's you. So I'm clueless on legal manner as far as, the continuance and how long this will take and things like that. I don't know if this stuff will be settled before camp. I don't know if it'll be settled before the season starts, but I think a lot of it is more favorable in Watson's case than it is in the Texans. And I agree with you. I don't think that we'll see Watson in a Texas uniform this season, rightfully so. And the fact that the organization, I think that even with that, and even if Watson's right, I still feel like that they'll try to find some type of loopholes to not have to pay him. And, especially extending these settlement timelines, I think they'll really keep trying to continue it to try to continue to frustrate this man. And if there's not a trade of getting Rodgers to Denver, like you said, there's rumors that Watson wants to go to Denver. Denver's honestly, that's their biggest Achilles heel. They need a quarterback, whether it's an older Rodgers or whether it's a Deshaun Watson. I think that one of them definitely need to do whatever it is possible to get one of those two. And I feel like Houston needs to do what they need to do to either accommodate Watson or ship him out and get this done the right way. So yeah, I agree with you. I definitely don't think we'll see Watson in a Texans uniform again in his career. So Touchdown Tomboy, do you have any shout outs, any updates, anything you want to speak on?
Actually, man, I do not. I'm just really happy. I'm excited, man. It's just so many things happening around the globe, around the world. Everybody just stay safe out there, man. Stay safe. Stay, hide your kids, hide your just stay safe, and watch out for yourself, of course, and be considerate and look out for yourself. And that's really it. I can't wait. We got so many. We got football, we got basketball. Girl, my head is spinning. I got so many sports. Like my husband's like, look, when did you? Wait a minute, the football thing we agreed to. Now it's basketball. And I was like, but I've always watched basketball.
Right. Don't you know you married?
And I was like, but I just never really watched. I watched it, but just not as much because I didn't have as much time. But now it's kind of like, yeah, I sneak a few games in,
Absolutely.
But I really don't have anything to say, man. Like, it's been lovely. It's been great as always, of course, man.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we always have a blast talking about football. It just comes real natural and genuine to us. And then also, as the off season progresses, we go through the rest of summer coming up, we'll definitely be keeping our eyes out on the rookies heading into camp. The Hall of Fame presentations, which we did not get to enjoy last year, so they're kind of doubling up this year. We'll be looking at those presentations resuming in August. Roger Goodell looking to have the stadiums to full capacity this season so that all fans can go back to all stands, all stadiums. And of course, the Raiders, with them moving to Vegas, that was their first year in Vegas last year, so they didn't even get their inaugural season. So even though this is going to be their second year in Vegas, it's going to be their first year with fans. So that's going to be an interesting dynamic to see how that goes as well. We are still dealing with the summer and the course of the holidays, as you already alluded to about being safe with COVID. We're getting there. We're getting closer. It's been a very crazy, 16, 17 months in now. So it's been a very hectic time. But like you said, with being safe and being sound and being considerate, it's very important. But also, as we're getting closer to the 4th of July, getting close to people want to set off fireworks, put it in reverse Terry. And we're talking about football here. So Jason Pierre-Paul, remember he had the fireworks.
JPP, hide yourself.
Yeah, exactly. So like hide your wife, hide your kids, hide your hands too, so don't pull no Jason Pierre-Paul's. Having your hands turned to hot dogs or something. All right. So everybody just be safe. Like you said, be considerate, be kind. We're almost there. So we're signing off for this episode of WTF Too. Touchdown Tomboy, Gridiron Goddess. Make sure you guys catch us next time, and we're out.
We're out.